Welcome back to the Rockman Power Hour, a podcast where we talk to the most interesting people in the world of pop culture and everything in between. And this week on the show, we are joined by the lead singer of Death by Stereo, Efrem Schulz. Ryan, we got to catch up with Efrem at Music for Cancer last year. It was such a nice organic moment. We were backstage. I saw him. I was like, "Hey, man, do you remember me?" He's like, "Of course I remember you." He goes, "Rockman Power Hour too." He goes, "I like the podcast," and it was just like such a nice.
Every time that happens, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, Rockman Power Hour." I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm my father's son, I guess. I'm just like, I'm assuming no one gives.
Shit, of course. Yeah. Don't worry, man. Yeah. Nothing like having fucking two kids to keep you right size. It really humbles you. But when you get that, it's nice. Like, it happens every once in a while. I went to go see my friend at the Jazz Fest the other day, and a girl messaged me after, and she was like, "Hey, I saw you at the Clown Core show, and I wasn't sure if it was you, but I just wanted to let you know I really enjoy the podcast." And I was like, "Hi, next time come say hi," But when it's someone who's in a band that listens, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was really, really rad. So he immediately remembered me from back in the day, from when we did those shows together, and then he liked the podcast, and we did a quick little stand-up interview with him. But I said, "Listen, let's have you on the podcast for a full episode because I really, really want to chat with you at length." And it's nice because he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Montreal this week. Well, by the time we put this out on Saturday, I'm going to be at Fofone Electrique. We're touring with Strung Out, and I'd really, really like to see you." So really, really nice little happy accident there. And it's great. And I was like, "Well, why don't we use this as a time to have you on the podcast?" So here we go. We're going to be talking with Efrem. Finally having him on here after talking about it for almost a year since we saw him last.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring it up to him, but I'll quickly summarize it. I remember they opened up for AFI. Yeah, this was at this great venue, the Medley, and I tend to I'm becoming that old person that just likes to talk about the old days. But I'm like, but the old days were rad because Montreal had just such an active music scene, and there was shows happening every other week, and the amount of talent that was coming, the caliber of talent, when you think about on a monthly basis, it was like such a great time to be a teenager when I was one. And I remember when I saw AFI, it was like, and Death by Stereo opening, I remember Death by Stereo, I saw their last two songs, and he immediately jumped in the audience and went to the merch table surrounded by people like a crazy old woman covered in cats. Yeah. Like it was crazy. And I thought that was so cool. And I'm like, people do that? I thought you go back to the mythical backstage part and then disappear like other rock stars.
He's a great front man. He's always been one of these guys that's not afraid to get out there and get dirty in the crowd, and great singer, just a great dude. So I'm really excited to have him on. So without any further ado, let's welcome Efrem Schulz from the band Death by Stereo to the Rockman Power Hour. There we go. Yo.
Hey, I totally blew it. I'm super late.
You didn't blow. You didn't blow shit, man. It's all good. How are you?
Good. I'm sitting here with your friend Eric Butow.
Well, Eric,
Is it not the creator of punk rock bass players on Facebook?
It is the creator of punk rock bass players, dude. Oh, watch out. We're on our way to go meet up with some of the Strung Out guys and leave for this tour.
That's amazing, man. Well, it's kind of nice that we got both of you because I found out from you, Efrem, when you said, "Well, I'm going to be in Montreal. Are you going to be around?" And I was like, "Let's be on the podcast." And then Eric messaged me, he's like, "Hey, we're going to be in Montreal." I'm like, "Who are you playing with?" He's like, "I'm playing with Death by Stereo." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's rad. I'm going to get both of it." So 2 for 1. Yeah. So listen, man, you guys are heading where now exactly?
We are right now heading to Hollywood to a van rental place to pick up a different van than the one I'm in. And then picking up a van, and then we're dead hanging it straight to Chicago.
No, oh my! So we're
going for it.
Just the two of you?
No, I'm meeting up with Jason from Strung Out, their sound guy, their TM John. Some of us are driving, some of the guys are flying. You
That's
know,
what I was gonna say. So some of you are driving the gear, and some of you are flying. I would always take the option of driving because it's going to be more fun. Flying's fun, but the drive is going to be way more fun.
I get to drive to Chicago with my bros.
It's amazing. So
don't get me wrong, I am very in favor of flights.
Yeah,
but I took this one because it was going to be a bros trip. You know,
I love it. I love it.
Speaking of driving, you're our first guest ever that's been in motion as you talk to us.
I think so.
I am on the what freeway are we on right now? I'm on the 605 freeway in Los Angeles.
Oh yes. It looks like you're going at a clip, which is nice.
We were riding on Route 605. That's only 7 miles from my house.
Dude, stoked to see you, man. Last time I saw you was at the fest at Music for Cancer.
I know we were talking about how I hadn't seen you in a long time since Slaves.
20 years or something, dude. You know.
Yeah, and then you were like, I listen to the podcast sometimes. I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
That's rad, man.
This is awesome.
So you're going to be in Montreal on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to be here during Comic-Con. And I don't know how early you guys get in, but the Comic-Con that Ryan and I are involved with, we do Montreal Comic-Con that weekend. There's like 65,000 people that come to this thing. It's crazy.
Whoa.
It's massive. So if you're in town early enough, you guys should definitely come by Comic-Con.
I definitely want to come by. I want to come hang out with you, dude.
Would you get in the Friday before or the Saturday morning, or you don't know?
We'll probably be coming in like the night before, like in the middle of the night or something. You know,
so if you're around on the Saturday and you guys want to come by Comic-Con for a bit, you should.
I absolutely do.
Our guest list is amazing this year.
It's not too bad.
Dude, thank you so much.
Distance. It's not too bad of a distance.
I can't wait to hang.
Yeah,
from the venue. Yeah,
dude, and we'll get to see Padge while we're out there.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
100%. Padge is going to be there.
Padge, legend, dude. The legend.
So let me ask you this: Death by Stereo, going back out. Obviously you've had a relationship with Strung Out for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Known those guys forever. One thing about you that I noticed is that you keep very busy with a lot of different projects.
Yeah, a little bit.
Every time I see you, you're either on stage with somebody or you're in another project. But right now, how many do you have on the go?
Okay, right now I'm working on Death by Stereo, Manic Hispanic, and I'm part of a newer project called Mutiny. Yes. And I was just showing Eric some mixes. We have a brand new full length we're mixing right now for Mutiny.
Wow.
And then I'm always just jamming for various people. When I'm not on tour with one of my bands, I tour manage other bands and artists. And
you're on the road all the time. If you're not
full time, man.
So can you tell me? I love it. Can you tell me a little bit about Manic Hispanic and what would be the chances of seeing that? Would you think we'd ever get dates of that from them in Canada?
We would love to. It's just a matter of the right opportunity, and so we can work it and get everybody out there.
That's a fucking crazy project.
It's so fucking fun, dude. And we actually have a new record finished too in the can that we're probably, I don't want to say the wrong date, but September-ish. Okay. I don't know. But Manic has a new record in the can, and that project is so fun. We put like a Chicano spin on punk rock, man.
Fucking amazing.
Change the lyrics to reflect our experiences and joke around about people we know, and we are all kind of characters in the band. It's like Cheech and Chong if it was a band.
I love it.
My character's name is Chewy Louise, like Huey Lewis. And Chewy Louise is like an amalgamation of different people I grew up with. I kind of put them all into one persona. And it's the funnest thing ever. And for people that aren't familiar with Manic Hispanic out there, we're kind of like a Mexican Weird Al for punk.
Right.
We take we take classic punk songs and change the lyrics.
Ryan, you would love it.
The Offspring's you got to keep them separated. You got to get them immigrated. So we, our Ruby Soho is Rudy Cholo. So we rewrite the lyrics that, and tell stories, make up fun stories, but it's the best, man. And Manic has always been like kind of 1 foot in reality and 1 foot, like we're just the real dude's friends. You go there.
And I've always loved projects that are a little bit tongue in cheek. Like I remember when Slaves were touring with Fear Factory on Snow Quarry. I was obsessed with talking to Dino about Brujeria, because that's another one of those projects which was like that had all this folklore about them being like, like being
drug dealers on the run,
right? So Brujeria were insane, and I remember like begging Dino, I'm like, please, can you let me do a guest spot on a Brujeria record? And he looks at me, and goes, you don't even fucking speak Spanish, man. Shut the fuck up.
Well, the rule with Manic Hispanic is you gotta be Mexican or at least half.
Right. I love it. No, but I love it.
Like, it's funny. There's been times where we had shows. I remember back in the day, Steve Soto was in our band.
Yep.
And who started the band. But like I remember we'd have to use fill-ins all the time for different shows, and he'd be like, dude, I don't know who to call. I went down the list of all the Mexican dudes we know. No one's available, So it's kind of funny. One time, Manic took Randy from Pennywise out to play bass as a fill-in and told everybody it was okay because he's a step-sican. His stepdad's Mexican.
Fucking Randy. Randy's the best. Randy
rules.
I met Randy like years ago, and I just shout out. I've been with the same lady for 14 years, and I met her on a Pennywise tour bus because Zoli from Ignite was singing for Pennywise at that
way
for that
Sultan Teglas.
Yeah, so he was really interested in Sea Shepherds and like wanted them to table.
Oh yeah.
So Melissa was part of what Melissa was called in to be one of the people that was tabling. So as a thank you, they brought everybody on the bus, and I had met Pennywise a few times before that. So I was on the bus trying to entertain them, doing stupid, goofy voices like Beavis Butthead, that kind of stuff. And so basically, had it not been for Pennywise, I would have never have met my lady. And it's been 14 years.
Dude.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Dude, Randy's one of the best human beings on earth ever, and Pennywise are the best human beings ever. I've had probably some of the best / most maniac fucking insane nights of my life with insane mornings of my life with Pennywise. I mean, everything with Pennywise. It's so great, dude.
Fucking Fletcher, man. Fletcher,
the best ever.
If Fletcher was giant sized and he was next to Godzilla and Kong, I put my money on the dude with the beard, because that guy is fucking scary when he wants to be.
Fletcher is giant sized.
Yeah, he's already big enough.
Speaking of Zoli, I want to tell you guys, I just ran into Zoli a few days ago. And have you guys seen the movie that's on Netflix called Shot Caller, about like the white power gang member in prison?
No.
It's a really gnarly movie on Netflix. Shot Caller. It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Zoli looks just like the guy from Shot Caller. Anyone watching the scene Shot Caller will be like, what? He looks like, he walked up and he looked like the most jacked I've seen him in years. And he had the big mustache. And Zoli walked up and I'm out of the pen. Zoli looks straight out of prison. Like, he's so yoked right now. I was like, dang, Zoltan, you're big.
He was always kind of big, though. He's a very health conscious guy. But
absolutely. 100%.
And shout out to the newer singer of Ignite. We met him last year.
Eli.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good. The new guy dude is so good. He's so nice too. What a good person.
Notes.
Yeah. All the notes. So talented. Oh my God. Singing for Ignite is not an easy job.
No,
like
Jason right? Jason. How we humanly can't make our voice go as high as they can.
Listen, man, I look at all you guys still doing it, and I did it for a good time, but I'm happy to be on the other side of it now. I'm good. Like but a lot of people, they need to do it. You know what I mean? So I respect those guys that are out there that still right. But you guys, but man, when I saw that guy sing for Ignite, I was like, holy shit. There's some people that just get up on stage and you're like, all right, I'm out, man. I'm glad I'm not doing this anymore.
Totally, dude. He was in a band previously as the guitarist of a band called Holy Grail that fucking rips. You have to check out Eli's band Holy Grail. It's like, whoa. Well, I saw them before I knew them. And I told him that, and he was like, what? I'm all, yeah, dude. Your band rips, dude, So
let me ask you. So this run now with Death by Stereo, you guys are doing, I think you're doing about like 12, 15 dates, maybe a bit more.
About 15 or something like that. Yeah.
Going out with Strung Out, coming to Canada, and then what's next for the band after this?
Well, actually, when this tour ends, I fly straight to Denver to meet up with Manic Hispanic to play Punk in the Park Denver.
Wow.
And then I come home, and Death by Stereo is actually, believe it or not, we're working on music. And
nice.
We're going to be dropping a single soon. I don't have a date yet, but we have a single in the can. And I will say the title. I will reveal the title. The song is called Flawed Theology. And
love it.
That's going to be the new DBS single. But we're working on songs. We're going to make another record, man. I can't believe it. We're active senior citizens.
So how long has it been since the last one?
Since the pandemic. We put a full length out during the pandemic.
Right.
So 2022 or something.
Yeah. So it's been a day, because you guys were before that. You were pretty. You're always like, you're always doing stuff. Always.
Pretty active. Active seniors.
Oh my God. I just realized something. I had an acoustic guitar back in the day, and like, when you get your first guitars, you covered in stickers because you're like, that's what cool people do, right? So I remember I saw you guys opening up for AFI at this great place that doesn't exist anymore called the Medley. And I remember,
I found that flyer.
Yeah,
really, That's
I literally have it.
Cool.
That's crazy. It's pink.
So I saw the end of your. I came in about halfway through your set, and I remember you guys finishing. And instead of going backstage, and this is at a pivotal time in my life, I think I'm about 18, and I'm like, you're kind of learning the steps of who you are as a performer, but also how do you treat an audience? Because everybody in a band I looked up to. I saw the Deviants play in front of like 15 people at Warped Tour, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a band, and I still remember it. All these years later, I still remember their names, what they look like, the set, everything. Because when you're that young and shit's new, you're so laser focused. You remember it verbatim.
Me too. Yeah.
And I remember you finished the set, but then you just got off the stage into the audience and proceeded to go to the merch booth while covered in people, like an old woman covered in cats. And you just, made your way slowly to the merch booth, but just in the people. I'm like, wow, that is so interesting, because
I didn't go backstage. I just walked off through the crowd.
Yeah, at that point, I'm like, I thought people, the backstage was this mythical place in which the audience was a threshold you weren't allowed to cross. And I just remember thinking, holy shit, I guess bands are people too. And I still had your sticker on my first acoustic guitar, because you guys were so rad, and you were like giving people stickers and stuff, and I'm just like, holy shit. What an really effect! Cool. What an effect that is, And I think I'm a nice person, but perhaps this helped me in my preventative dick training. Like maybe I wasn't an asshole based on this night. You never know.
We averted that tragedy.
Yeah.
You didn't become a dick. I love that.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it was that tour. We played in Toronto at the Opera House on that tour, and for that show in particular, the band Leftover Crack joined the show.
Okay.
And I'll never forget hanging out outside back when I used to party, So we were like, me and Stiz and Leftover Crack were sharing a bottle of rum, just awful, just rum, in the sun, like, just drink a bottle of room temperature rum. The days. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't even smell rum without trying to throw up right now. So we're drinking rum, and then I remember we're all hanging out, and then Leftover Crack goes on stage and gets in a giant fight, and watch the band implode and break up on stage at the Opera House in front of all the Empire outside the stage that were so hyped to see them. We're all, what? Wait, what do you mean? And they're fighting, and the drummer's like, I've had it, threw sticks, and then they just walked out arguing. And I was like, no, I was like, oh no. And then like afterwards, just laughing. I couldn't believe it. So then I just went outside and drank more rum.
It's crazy when you see a band implode in front of you that you like. It's the saddest thing ever, because you're like,
now there's videos. Now there's videos like what happened with Jane's Addiction. Sounds just like what happened with talking about.
I love the Jane's Addiction video. It made them very human.
I'm sure you too. I mean, for you too, Efrem, we're of a generation where Jane's Addiction are a very important band for guys our age.
The most, oh my God.
So for me, I'm always going to be, there's always going to be that little kid in me that's going to be like, they're going to pull it together and it's going to fucking happen. I don't think so anymore. But I love Perry, man. I think he's one of the coolest fucking singers ever.
He's a genius. Like, where could that possibly have come from? All those beautiful ideas, all that beautiful art. I mean, visually, audio, everything about him. I had a conversation with Ian Eaglebones Falconhawk, the guitar player of the Aquabats, about this. Okay. who actually played on the Death by Stereo demo. People don't know that.
Oh,
But,
nice. I love the Acrobats too.
The best ever.
Yeah.
We had this conversation about how some musicians make art, but some musicians live their life as art.
Yeah.
And that's Perry Farrell. That's Bob Mothersbaugh. That's very specific people in this world. John Waters. People live their life as art.
No, I know.
Perry Farrell is the piece. You know?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because when you're a fan of it, you see it as, or if you're a musician or anybody that can like that doesn't live that way. For us, it's very like, well, just fix this. But when you're the living art piece, it's a whole other thing. And yeah, you're right. It's so true because they're different. And as much as you can appreciate them, you're not going to understand them unless you're doing that as well. And yeah, because I look at it.
You have that same brain.
What?
You have that same brain, dude. Like you can't exist without a creative expression of yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also know my limits, and I also know when I pull back, and I also have enough. I have enough perspective to see what happened on that stage with those guys, knowing that guy's in addiction, and like no pun intended. And if he could just get help, you know. And I don't know, man.
It's tough, man.
I was so hopeful for that whole thing because those guys have so much.
I know genes, dude. You know, it's fucking genes.
But addiction's kind of broken up a lot of bands and stuff like that. Like even if you look at one of the most famous breakups on stage ever is the Sex Pistols. It's like, oh no, I got the feeling you've been cheated.
Totally.
You know, and then
it's insane.
Then a fictional version. There's this great Canadian punk rock film called Punk Rock Logo. Hardcore.
I love Hardcore Logo. It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, we met the dude who plays Billy Talent at Comic-Con last year in Ottawa.
No way.
And Jay and I nerded out hardcore. Like we're professional people, but it's like there's particular niche things where you're just like, oh my god, dude.
What was he known for? He's known for Ryan. The other things he was doing, he was known for all this other sci-fi stuff, right?
Yeah, he was there for Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, like that guy, that actor who was in that movie went on to because we do so many different Comic-Cons. A lot of the times we'll talk to actors that they're known for. Let's say they got into the Harry Potter franchise, or they got into the Star Trek or the Star Wars world, but we'll be like, oh, but no, you were Billy Talent in that weird little fucking indie movie Hardcore Logo. So
I know the real movie we need to talk about.
Right.
Right.
So those guys, whenever you talk to guys like that, like I remember Ryan, when you mentioned it to him, he was so happy.
Yeah.
And when we had copies of Hardcore Logo on Blu-ray to get signed, he was like, holy shit. Like you could tell he was happy that we were there talking about that,
Yeah, but then the dude who plays Diener from Foo Bar, he was on the show.
Yes.
And we were talking to him about Hardcore Logo, and he is so inspired by that film. It inspired him to be a filmmaker because as a Canadian, he had never seen a Canadian film be like that and be that good and be that accessible.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's crazy how you can be influenced by the strangest things. It's like it's important when you put out something that at least you're true to yourself, because you never know who's listening. You never know you never know what kid is going to take your sticker and put it on his guitar.
That's fucking mind blowing. And in Canada, there's this great history of fucking unbelievably good either rock themed movies, rock docs, rock adjacent films. Canada has this it's like this untapped well of just greatness. And the art that comes out of Canada, as you know, Jason, I've always been a giant fan of. We've been touring Canada for years, dude, and all the Canadian bands were all like some of my favorite bands. You know what I mean? Like,
we have a lot of great talent here, but when you're talking about the documentary and the rock films, like a lot of that is attributed to Banger Films. Like those guys, the guys at Banger do incredible stuff. But
their YouTube channel is great.
Yeah, it's amazing, but yeah, man, like I think well, a lot of it has to do because it's so fucking cold here, so we have to do something.
It's like Sweden with ripping guitar players,
dude. Why are there so many good bands that come out like a band like Refused, man? Like you look at Refused, you
gotta sit in the basement and jam every day because you can't go outside.
Right, drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, and write killer songs.
Yeah. But Canada has good bands, but you know what? I think Canada has good fans too, especially in Montreal, because when I was at that teenage years, like,
Oh,
when you were coming with AFI, it almost seemed in hindsight like this lottery that I just existed at this time when every other week these incredible bands would come, but get the equal amount of attention and enthusiasm from the audience. We felt hungry, and they were like the answer. Like, we wanted to
wow.
go to shows every week, and shows were
That's
so
cool.
affordable at the time that you could do that. Even as a teenager, it would make sense to go to 2-3 big concerts a month.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for the bands too, it was great to go and have this place in
Incredible.
Canada to, go make all your money, make all your merch money in Montreal.
Yeah.
So if you go play a shithole the next day, at least you made your overhead, right?
Canada, like early on, just embraced us immediately. We couldn't believe it, and I guess I never thought about it because I'm a massive SNFU fan, right?
Right.
Oh.
And I, in a lot of ways, copied Chai because I do the whole with my voice, but it's just the only way I can get the notes out is to be all whoa, And I was always into SNFU. Then years later, talking to Padge, he's all, oh yeah, you guys are an Epitaph. You're the new Epitaph band, huh? And I'm all, yeah. And he goes, so I heard you. And he goes, I instantly thought, oh, they found another SNFU. You're the new SNFU. And I felt so flattered, but oh fuck, I have been copying Chai too much. Like, oh my God, I sound just like, it's like I've been copying them this whole time. But it was subconscious, because I love him so much.
Sure.
He's also one of the greatest lyricists to ever exist, as you know. And oftentimes when people bring up the greatest frontmen, they'll be like HR, Keith Morris, Jello. I always interject, and I'm like, oh, man, Chai.
Yeah.
Although HR is, but Chai, dude, Chai.
I met Chai once when I was 23. I'm 41
Yeah.
right now. I met him when I was 23, and I was going across country with this band called the Ripcords. And
Okay.
we were, the basis of the Ripcords was my lead singer in a band called Rockets Away, and I was the bassist of that band. And we went across country, and we went to Vancouver, and we did the whole cycle where, I'm sure touring Canada, you're like, Ontario just seems like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon where it's the same background again and again and again.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same hill and the same rock that by the time you get to the prairies, you're like, oh shit, cool.
Something different. Oh, no, it's flat.
But then
Something
you get
different. Now it's the same for more hours,
Then you went to Vancouver, and you're like, what natural genius created land this beautiful? So we get to Vancouver, and we played this place called the Cobalt. And I'm hope I'm not mixing up my memories, but Chai Peg's from BC, and I think he was working at the Cobalt, just cleaning things up.
He was always hanging in Vancouver.
Yeah. So I met him, and I didn't even realize that he just seemed like a nice guy. And then someone's like, "Oh, that dude, that's the singer of SNFU."
Dude,
And I'm like, "Oh, okay, crazy." But he didn't walk in the room and announce himself, being like, "I am the greatest lead singers in punk rock.
Yeah, check me out." He was very humble, and I have some SNFU trivia for both of you. So a lot of people don't know this. There was supposed to be an SNFU Death by Stereo split.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we started working on the songs, and we recorded Better Than Eddie Vedder for it.
Oh, really?
And we were going to do 2 originals to cover. Then SNFU was going to do a DBS cover and 2 originals. And then, Chai went partying, and it was cool. And I think it's ironic and funny that they recorded it and Chai just went partying or whatever instead, which is way funner and funnier and better of story. But it was about to happen, and I got this email from Chai was living with that guy, Cruiser, the guy that worked at Skull Skates, John Cruiser. Okay. And then he was living with him, and John hit me up, and he goes, "Hey, dude, Chai wanted me to tell you that he's listening to your music, and he can totally hear his voice in you, and can totally hear that you were down with SNFU." And I was like, "Whoa!" My brain exploded, melted down. I was like, "Oh." But I have a skateboard that Skull Skates made. They made a few prototypes. They never got made. I have a Death by Stereo SNFU Skull Skates deck. There's only 10 of them.
That's
and
so cool.
Totally. And do you remember the Pal Peralta? Have you seen him?
Yep.
Animal Chin.
Yep.
It was Chai dressed like Animal Chin on the deck.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wow.
That's so
I'll take a picture and send it to you guys. But dude, it's very Oh, but yeah, I was so close, man. But we almost had a split with SNFU, and someday we'll find a way to release that cover because it's just, man,
it's
what a cool band, you know.
The thing is, people don't realize when you're in a band and you're actively moving and you're doing stuff, shit happens all the time. I remember recording when we were living in LA. We recorded a cover of Seal's "Crazy."
No.
And Dino came and recorded on. Dino came and put guitar on it.
Who?
Like the guitar goat?
Yeah. Who? What are you asking me, Ryan?
The cover up.
Seal.
Like
Crazy.
Kiss by a Rose Seal?
Yes, the fucking
crazy. You're never gonna survive unless.
Awesome.
Ryan doesn't realize I'm a massive Seal fan, huge Seal fan, huge.
Do you know who was playing drums for him for a while? Was Jared, the drummer of Joyce Manor.
Oh, really?
Who also sometimes plays in the Bronx and a bunch of other bands.
Yeah. The guy that's playing guitar for him now, Matt, is a pretty accomplished rock guitar player too. And
really?
But when we did that cover of "Crazy," I remember we did it. We wanted to release it. Dino came and played on it. And I'll never forget, we were recording an album and Troy Van Leeuwen was producing the record with us. So we had it, we recorded it, and then we met with Matt Wallace to maybe produce our record. And we told him that we'd done a cover of "Crazy." It didn't work out. We didn't end up recording with Matt. And then like 2 years later, he does a Mushroom Head record and they fucking covered "Crazy."
No.
And we were like, fuck, you know, but those kind of things happen all the time.
They fall through the cracks. Like
you
have a million stories like that, right?
100%. And you were telling the story about meeting Chai at a bar, you know?
Yeah.
Ryan, you were saying that story.
Yeah.
When Ryan and I went and did Record Store Day, we did a little tour of Record Store Day with DMC because we did.
I remember that. Yes.
Right. So we were in Record Archive in Rochester, which is a legendary record store.
Yeah.
In Rochester, New York, at the Record Archive. And this guy comes up to us and he starts chatting with us. It was fucking Dan Lilker from Brutal Truth and SOD, who works at that record store. That's his full-time gig. He's always there. He just gets time off to go tour. And I'm like, I couldn't believe that fucking Dan was talking to us and telling us where we could get some, you know, there's some drinks you can get over here. And like, if you guys want like the store discount, you can like get 20% off. And I was like, you're fucking Dan Lilker, man. Like you're a fucking legendary fucking bass player. Like what the fuck?
Thank you, Bass Yoda.
What are you fucking doing working at the record store? But that's, some people are just like,
you're an Anthrax.
Right.
You know, like,
you were the guys did so Brutal Truth, like so many things, you know. So it was just so fucking cool to meet him at the record store that day, and he was working there, and he still works there. And then I ended up asking Bill. I asked Bill.
Mind-blowing.
Well, I asked Bill from Mastodon about it because Bill grew up in Rochester, and he's like, oh yeah, he was like the guy that went out and did stuff before anybody, but then he was like, I'm not giving up my day gig, man. This is a good job.
Dude, I have to tell you a Mastodon antidote. Because I still gotta reach out to Braun and talk to him. This is a few years ago. Like, dude, because like I'm a pretty mellow dude these days, and we toured with Mastodon back in the day,
right?
When it was much smaller.
When they were madmen, yes,
totally. And we were madmen too, and we were raging our faces off the whole tour. Fast forward, we'd see each other in passing here and there, you know, and then just life, you know, you don't see people for a lot of years, and I was at the Psycho Las Vegas Fest, the big metal fest in Vegas.
Yeah. And
we were playing, and I don't drink or do any of that anymore. And I guess the closest thing I'd come to partying would be like mushrooms or something, right?
Right.
And which I hadn't done in ages either, because I just don't really do anything anymore, you know? And I ate a little bit of mushrooms with my girlfriend, and we were like, ooh, you know, and then we're walking around, and I see Braun. And I haven't seen Braun in so long, and I'm so genuinely happy. But I didn't realize, like, oh, Efrem, to everyone looking at you, you're not normal. You're being really weird. And so my girlfriend's like, oh, my God. When we left, she's like, do you realize what you just did? And I'm like, what? She's all, you walked up to him, and he looked at you and goes, Efrem? Oh my God. She goes, he was about to hug you. And then you caressed his face and went, this is so wonderful. And then you said, she goes, then you turned around and just walked away. I caressed his face. So, bro, hey, bro, if you're watching this, it was good to see you. I'm sorry that I just walked out.
I'm gonna see them in 2 weeks because they're playing at Festival d'été Quebec. So I will definitely pass that message on to him.
Please, and tell them all of Death by Stereo sends their love, because I love those guys, man.
The best, man. And it's shitty to see all this stuff with Brent and all that, you know. But I mean, anybody that's been around the band knows that there was a breaking point with that, and that was something was going to happen there. So, but you know, Bill's a good friend of one of my best buddies.
Best.
He's the backbone of that band, man. He's the guy. He's the dude.
He's an inspiring musician.
He is.
You know who else was inspiring to me was Troy, and because even though he was playing such heavy, gnarly music, it was so insightful that I don't know if this makes sense. I know I sound really hippy dippy when I talk about stuff, but like I almost felt like I could feel his kindness coming out when he was playing.
I totally know what you mean, because when you see him on stage, like I get what you're saying, because he has this way about him that but those guys are very kind guys.
Yeah, you know? And me and Troy's brother Darren.
Yeah, Darren's amazing.
Matching tattoos.
Oh, nice.
So the end of we did a North American tour with them, and at the end of the tour, we ended in Atlanta, and so we partied at Troy's house all fucking night, right? Yeah. And we're all so hammered, and there's 4 of us still up. Me and Darren were 2 of them, and I don't know how we were trashed, you know. And I'm all, man, I love you, bro. He's like, oh, I love you. Oh man. And then we get in this conversation about how ninjas are cool. I don't know why. You know what, man? We're best friends now. We're gonna go find the first tattoo shop that's open and get ninja tattoos. And then like 4 of us go, and then we go to first. We end up going to some like 6 a.m. bar and getting like more beer, and then we go to the first tattoo shop we find open, and there's like this half asleep biker leaning on the counter, and he looks up, and I go, hey man, I just partied with you all night at Troy's. And he's like, oh yeah. Really sick to get a tattoo from the half asleep biker. And he's all, you want ninjas? Oh man, that's awesome. You guys are real good friends. And then we have a little ninja. You can't really see. I have a little ninja on my arm. It's pretty funny.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's the worst tattoo ever, but it's awesome.
I wanted to bring something back full circle. I had mentioned like it was such an impression on me about how rad you were to your audience, you know, how cool, how approachable you were. Who was like that for you when you were like a young budding fan just going to shows before you went bands and understood how the sausage was made? Who did that for you?
You know what? I'll tell you a really good one about meeting one of my heroes. So when I was young, members of Manic Hispanic are also members of the Cadillac Tramps, who used to tour Canada a lot in the 90s.
Cadillac Tramps, dude.
Oh, yeah. So Warren, our bass player for Manic Hispanic, the biggest dude ever, we call him Oso, which means bear. But like Oso was the bass player of the Cadillac Tramps. And I remember being really young, and I took the bus to go see them at Cal State Fullerton, the university by my house, because they had free noontime shows in the quads. I took the bus there, and I rolled up my Cadillac Tramps poster that I got from the record store, and I had a marker in my pocket. Yeah. And I watched their whole set and was like, oh my God. And I was so scared. And I got close to them. And then Warren turns around and he looks at me, and I'm all, could you sign my poster? And he just, you want me to sign that? And he grabs it out of my hand, and he's all like kind of like, that's not punk, you know? And he was like, lame, you know? And he walks away to the band, and I'm like, oh man, he thinks I'm lame. And he comes back and he goes, here you go, kid. Hands me the poster. I get on the bus to go home, and I unroll it, and the poster just said, fuck you across it. So fast forward years later, I told that story on stage with Manic Hispanic. This motherfucker fucking, and he just died laughing, dude. He's all, oh yeah, we used to be mean to kids all the time.
So mean.
It's the opposite of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but it's the best. I was like, man, this is the most punk thing I've ever seen in my life. But yes, there was bands that were always kind when I'd go see them, you know? You know who was like that? AFI.
Okay.
Yeah.
100%. You go see AFI, dude. Dave immediately dude, it's great to see you again, man. I hug you. I mean, we are friends, you know, we toured together forever, but like when we first met them, they were so kind.
Yeah.
And they would come down, they would drive down to Orange County to play shows on the weekends. And then our bass player, Paul, from writing letters to them out of the address in the 7-inch, was like, hey, dude, if we write AFI, they'll send us back a sticker. And I was like, whoa, write them. Let's fucking write them. You know, like, let's get AFI stickers. And then they wrote Paul back and they go, we saw your address. We're coming down here to play a show and we're looking for somewhere to stay.
I love it.
And that's how we became friends with AFI, from going to see them. Then they came and stayed at Paul's and were so genuinely cool to us that like we were like, hey, we're starting a band and this and that. And they were like, fuck yeah. Like they were so instantly like, yes. Even when they were playing for 50 people, you know, they were like, do it. So encouraging. And then when we finally got our demo tape, they came back on tour and they were already headlining to like 400, 500 people, you know, and we, here's our tape. And they're like, rad. And the next thing you know, you guys want to play with us?
Yeah.
What?
And it's crazy when you're talking about those connections, because now people don't understand, like you can make those connections really easily by meeting someone and talking to them on Instagram, or like you can foster that. But back in the day it was a lot tougher. It was a lot tougher. So
you ain't going to meet your favorite rock star. I remember sitting in back of the Palladium in Hollywood with my ear against the door to listen to Bad Religion soundcheck.
Yeah.
and then waiting. Then Jay Bentley came out the door and I was all, dude, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then fast forward, dude, I've played 100 shows with Bad Religion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Jay's,
you know what I mean?
Jay is the sweetest guy.
Best human being. I just found out recently that he lives by me because I was driving around the corner and he's walking this kid out of school. And I roll my window down, Jay, and he's like,
yeah,
hey. You know, like,
that's really cool. You know, just shout out the punk rock bass player group. Because Eric's next to you.
There he is, right there, the punk rock bass player in the flesh.
I just want to say, just because we had brought up AFI, I don't think Hunter is named enough as one of the greatest punk bass players. Like
bass players of all time.
He's one of the greatest bass players of all time, one of the greatest punk bass players of all time, but also an amazing performer that can also play. Like usually the performance
guitar.
Yeah, but usually the performance gets sacrificed. The playability gets sacrificed for an amazing performance. The fact that he could do both always blew me away, and he was a big influence on me because I'm like, I want to look great when I'm on stage, but also at the same time, I don't want to suck because
totally
you could go the Sid Vicious route where like, oh my god, you look amazing, but you know, playing secondary.
You know, Hunter though is shredding while jumping off the top of an Ampeg 8x10 bass cabinet. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So Hunter, let me tell you, there's an obscure record Hunter made years ago, and we had Hunter support a bunch of DBS shows. If you can find it online, there's a record called Hunter Revenge. It sounds like if Prince made a record on a 4-track recorder, and it's so fucking good. And we had him open shows for us, and none of the kids understood it. And he's like, 24-hour punches zone, like singing and playing falsetto, playing bass. It's so good. But Hunter, we met back in the day before he was in AFI. He was in a band called The Force.
Yeah,
dude, they're great. The Force, obscure music. Obscure music. Let's share obscure music. But yeah, when Hunter joined AFI, it was like a mind-blowing game changer for the whole scene. And when Jay joined AFI and they started all writing together, it was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah,
this is like a new kind of music. Yeah, it was like a new genre, and then the whole world started dressing in black.
Yeah,
you know, like circle jerk shirts were yellow, punkers wore colors and white T-shirts. Goth people wore black. You know, and now it's just amalgamated because of AFI. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it's so dope. I was like, this, and Dave is another person that lives his life as art.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I interviewed him when I was with iHeart, and I loved our conversation because he's so genuine. He's such a nice guy. But he had
the nicest human being,
but he's
a genius.
but he also, some people just have an aura around them, like they just have
Yep.
this aura around them where you're like, you're talking to someone who's doing crazy shit. Are you at the van rental place?
We just pulled up, dude.
All right, look, we're gonna.
I'm so sorry for
No.
the inconvenience,
Dude,
guys.
this was amazing.
It
What a
was
great
amazing.
interview. Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to you. Can we do this again?
Yes, and we're
Hell
gonna
yeah.
see you guys. We're gonna see you guys in Montreal at Fafun Electric. I'll reach out to you.
I love you. Let me know how many people you need on the list. I got you. I want to see you both. And we're coming to come.
Fucking coming. You have no. You
Yes,
have.
we're gonna relive that show. And at the end of the set, I'm gonna jump off the stage, and me and you are gonna fucking hug in the pit. How's that?
Nice.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the hugs.
Dude, be very, very safe on the road. Love to all you guys, and thanks for coming by and chatting with us. And we'll definitely do it again.
Thank you so much, guys. I love you, brother.
Yeah,
dude,
man. Me too.
Dude, stoked that all these years later we're still bros.
I know. Me too.
Hell yeah. I love you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Couple days, a few days.
Because of peer pressure, I will see you soon.
Yeah, you'll
love
be
you guys.
All right.
Later, man. Well, that was fun. That was different. I don't think we've ever done. I think the closest thing we've had to recording something while it was moving, you and I, was DMC sending his part in for "We Care a Lot" in a because he had shit to do, but he still wanted to get the part done.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm really appreciative to cell phone technology because that didn't sound as bad as you think it would.
Oh.
and also I could put a little bit of a vocal, pitch thing. But at the same time, it's just like, maybe this opens up another whole thing, because sometimes the best conversations I've ever had in my life is sometimes on a road trip. And sometimes, and if we could get people when they're have nothing to do for like an hour, when they're getting from one place to the other, maybe our guest selection could even be bigger.
Well, yeah. Are you going on a road trip anytime soon?
I love going on road trips. So the road trip you talked about going on with DMC is still like one of the highlights. And it's not even like, oh man, like it's not because of what it's just because I felt so proud, because it was a manifestation of everything else we had done regarding the project with DMC and stuff. And like you saying, okay, well, we need to finish a music video. Here's this and this.
Yeah.
And, nowadays I'm 8 years more experience. I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I could do that. But 8 years ago, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So, it's those oh shit moments that define you as a human being. Are you going to cave and say, I can't do this? Or are you going to, stance and say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try. I will not give up.
No, I agree. The other thing too, the reason why that conversation was so good is because Efrem's an amazing human. I mean, like, and that's why I'm glad we got to bring him on and chat with him, because there's very few people that have energy like that. He is one of the most genuine, just you're talking about beautiful people inside and out. He's just that. So yeah, anybody that is looking for something to do on Saturday night after Comic-Con, definitely go to Fafun Electric. I mean, Strung Out and Death by Stereo. It is going to be extremely, extremely busy. That is for sure.
After he plays and we have this hug, I'm going to run back to work though.
Yeah.
But, I will check him out.
Oh no, we're definitely going to go to that show together. We have to.
Yeah.
And they're opening too. Not that I don't want to see Strung Out, but I mean, just because of the timing, I think we will.
No, just because I'm going to be needed. Yeah. Obviously, there's something's always happening where you need to be somewhere. So it's like, okay, I could definitely take a little bit of a break after. And I will say this: if anyone's listening, I am like, Jason, you are, I've always said this, like, you're Jason fucking Rockman. And when you do Jason Rockman things, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's it. Jason, he's in Quebec City hanging out with Corn. He's in that's what you do. To me, I'm still Jenny from the block. And sometimes when these things happen, I have this, I want to tell people, but at the same time, I don't want to sound show offy, because it's not my lot in life to do these things. I just feel like Aladdin who found a lamp sometimes. So I am very thrilled to say that I'm going to be hosting 2 panels at Comic-Con on the Saturday, and they're 2 of my favorite niche things. I'm interviewing, on stage, I'm hosting Todd Landon, who wrote the first 2 Ninja Turtles films.
Oh, nice.
And the interesting thing about it is they are 2 sides of the same coin, but they could not be any more different. Where the part 1 is the Foot Clan are runaway teenage kids. Raphael almost gets beaten to death. Their father figure gets taken away from them and off-screen tortured. And you're like, oh my God, versus part 2, where he literally throws the swords on the ground and starts fighting with cold cuts instead.
Secret abuse, baby.
Because of all the complaints they got from parents, and they made the second movie less than a year later. So for that duality of vibes within the same franchise, and to ask the writer of both of them, will be fascinating to get his perspective of how that happened. And also later that day on stage, I'm interviewing the great John Kisser, who is the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
Fucking right, dude.
And it's so cool because you and I have tried so very hard to get these busts of the Crypt Keeper from Spirit Halloween. And thanks to our friend Ezra, who went to great lengths to get you yours.
Yes, had it flown from California.
It's surreal. Like he was one of the most important voices. Tales from the Crypt, one of the most important things. And to just be like, you know, sometimes once in a while you see someone talking to someone on stage and you're like, they even like this? Yes, I do. Both things. I will be as excited as the audience. So go on the Montreal Comic-Con app. It is brand new app. Re-download this app. And right in Montreal Comic-Con, I believe it's called Comic-Con. It'll have a gray logo. Check that out. Look at the schedule. And come and join me in this. I'm so excited. I'm sure everyone else will be excited too. But I'm going to have the time of my life talking with them. And I hope you have the time of your life listening to them. So, yeah.
It's going to be a good weekend. All right. Well, we want to thank all of you guys for joining us for this very, very interesting episode of Rockman Power Hour. Please like, subscribe, let your friends know about it, and check out our past episodes and all that other fun stuff. And until next time, we'll see you on the Rockman Power Hour. Hey, thanks so much for watching the podcast. We really appreciate your support. And if you're enjoying the podcast, click this link right over here to watch the next episode, and click right over here and subscribe. And that way you won't miss anything.